It's a darn lie. There are some people who will lead us to believe that everybody is about to become a millionaire because you've been through hurt, because you've been through trauma, because you have gone through things that you are entitled to be a millionaire. But it's a darn lie. If you haven't built nothing, you ain't getting nothing. And I know that it's bad grammar. But the truth of the matter is, don't let people tell you because you've been through things, because people have rejected you, because people have mistreated you, because you have been the black sheep of the family, because of the traumas that you have been through. If you haven't changed, you ain't getting nothing except for what you've always gotten. Because there are some things that we have to do, like not be conformed to this world. We must be transformed by the renewing of our minds. If you ain't built nothing, you ain't getting nothing. If you ain't put nothing in, you ain't getting nothing out. If you don't have the faith and you operating in fear, you are not going to receive the things that people have told you that you are going to get. In order to become the millionaire that God is calling for many of us to become, we have to use wisdom. We need revelation. Many of us are receiving revelation, but we don't have the understanding because we're moving forward in things without obeying and heeding what God is saying. Many of us receive the revelation and run with it without waiting for instruction, without waiting to see what else or the timing that we need to release a thing. Because there are many times that God have taught me and is teaching me. Just because I share something with you, it is not to be shared immediately. And this is why some of us will give a word 2-3 years ahead of time, before the time, but by the time that the word catches up, somebody else has come along with the same word, and then we're saying to ourselves, oh, I gave that word 2-3 years ago, but it was out of timing because this is now the time for the word. So if we are not in the proper alignment, the timing, and we are not doing anything, we have not built anything, we are not investing where God says invest, we are not sowing into places where God says so. Because one of the hardest lessons that God has taught me is pie ain't gonna fall out the sky. And this is why I can come on this platform and many of my videos, I always talk about pie is not gonna fall out the sky. If you haven't put anything in, you're not gonna get anything out. If you are still reckless and mismanaging and wasting and things of that nature, God is not going to put much in your hand. To whom much is given, much is required. So while there are millionaires that are going to be made and are being made, even right now as we speak, if we ain't building nothing, we ain't getting nothing. If we have not changed, then change is not coming automatically to us. There are things that we have to do. We have to participate in our deliverance, in our liberty, in being set free. And we're sitting and waiting and clicking and liking and hearting videos and things of that nature and in expectation of something that we have done nothing to be postured or in position to receive. And I'm not saying that grace is not at work. And I'm not saying that you're not entitled to what it is that God has for you. But God does all things in decency and in order. And if God is not a God of waste and mismanagement, he's not going to put money in your hand that's going to hurt you, that's going to destroy you, or that you are going to mismanage and put it back into the hands of the enemy. Because many of us, we have no plan. We don't even think for ourselves. We have other people thinking for us. We'll pour it back into somebody else. We have no relationship with God. The revelation that we do receive from God, we don't wait patiently with it. We're not partnering. And because we are not partnering, we're sitting and expecting for pie to fall out the sky and for God to do everything and for us to just sit and wait for it to come. It's never going to come. It's a darn lie. Straight is the gate and narrow is the way. If you're not walking a straight and narrow way, you ain't getting nothing. And I don't just mean in the aspect of you got to live holy and deep, because God reigns on the just as well as the unjust. But if you're not straightening out some things and doing things in a narrow way, you're not planning, you are not preparing, you are not building, you are not doing anything to put yourself in a better situation, you are not learning, you are not growing, most of all, you are not obeying what God has said to you. You're walking crooked, the broad path that everybody is going down and destructive and just not doing anything. You're going to be waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, because many of us simply need to change. We need to grow up. We're still drinking milk. Been saved for years, sitting waiting for pie to fall out the sky, praying and wishing and hoping, and not participating in our victory, not participating in liberation, not participating in walking out of the prisons and into freedom, just sitting and waiting for things to happen that we have to participate in. It's a darn lie. And you believe because you want to believe the lie rather than to press and work and believe and get up and change and do what you need to do to participate in your millionaire status. Millionaire may not even be just in the form of money. You can transform your mind to think like a millionaire, to see the vision, to make it plain. Which I'm going to do a video on that next, because God really chewed me up and spit me out on some things about vision. So stay tuned for the next video. This is Let's Talk Kingdom. Be blessed.